Welcome to Dr. Jester Rants, and I'm gonna rant about this. From gamesindustry.biz. Layoffs reported at Hardsuit Labs. Update? Well, they had an update in there, but this is more of a quick video in regards to that. Probably quick. Can't promise that. Either way, it usually happens when a studio finishes a project, or in this case, cancels a project. So the people behind what was working the previous game, usually narrative people who works with the story, anything like that, gets eaten out and bye-bye. But it's just kind of like it's weird, really. But mostly it's because Hardsuit Labs' only game published so far under their name is Blacklight. Is it Blacklight? Yes, I think that's the name, Blacklight. It's a MOBA-ish TF2 Overwatch kind of game, and it's absolutely boring. And kind of a microtransactions nightmare as well. And it went under as well. And that's why one of the things that I also had a very big issue, to the point that I was afraid when they made the game, announced the project, Paradox announced the project and the studio behind it. I was really afraid of the quality of the product. And so far, based on the images they've released, a few footages here and there, it seems my suspicions were proving to be right, because with Chris Avalon being eaten out because he got me chewed for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and then the game got laid because they wanted to take everything out that he contributed, and then Brian Matsoda, something like that, also left the project. Then, at least the only good news coming out of this is Cara Ellison being let go of the project, where she's responsible for banning of a game in Australia, and that was the only good news so far. It just didn't bode well to the game. Let's talk about, for instance, one of the images that they released, the footage of a vampire, a very well-known haughty vampire from the original Bloodlines, the communist anarchist chick. She was hot in the previous game, and you had the problems of low polygons. This one, she looks more like a tranny. Well, I guess vampirism did not go well with her throughout the years. Who knew? Either way, let's go and finish the article. Hardsuit Labs underwent layoffs following the announcement last week that it was dropped as the developer of Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. Several employees at the Seattle studio announced on Twitter that they were laid off. We didn't write a narrative at blah blah blah, their names. The extent of the redundancies beyond the narrative is unclear at this stage. Well, the update said that there was a small number unable to provide work for a small number of people. It made the difficult decision to part ways. We can confirm that Hardsuit Labs recently experienced layoffs. While we worked hard to source some great work opportunities for the studio to move forward with, we were unable to provide work for a small number of individuals, and thus made the difficult decision to part ways. This decision was not made lightly, and was done so only after we felt we had exhausted the opportunities to avoid such a layoff. And obviously they do the cookie cutter, that they're reaching out to the studios to see if they could hire these people so they don't get unemployed. Sure, that's commendable, and I like it that they are doing that. But then comes to another part that I want to touch on. Paradox has been going downhill also lately, so I don't know who is guilty of the biggest fuck-ups in regards to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, if it's Hardsuit Labs or Paradox. I do not know which one is the most guilty party in this regard, so remember, always take what I said in this case with a grain of salt. Paradox is notoriously known for very shitty quality control. or in some cases bugs that infect a game for years. Dolores! And they are notoriously known with a very crappy quality control. Wait, I already said that. Well, it's worth reinforcing. Did I mention that they also have a very crappy quality control? And, unlike what I said, they also have a very crappy quality control. Quality control. Crappy quality control. Did I mention quality control? They do not have quality control. Ah, yes, one more point. They don't have a good quality control. Oh, another point. They don't have quality control whatsoever. Yes, and I think you pretty much get the gist out of it. And the foreigners are censorious to the nth degree. They love to censor stuff. I even got censored once because of I dared to quote a guy, and I got banned from the forum because of the quote of the guy, in which he was criticizing the moderation. I simply took his words, flip it a little bit, and then I got banned. The guy did not. Yes, that's the type of people we are dealing with here. So, always, when dealing with companies like Paradox, some of their games may actually be good, but be careful. Okay, so this is a relatively short video. Hey, it turns out it was a relatively short video. So be careful with games from those two companies, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't buy or be excited if they announce a good project or a good game or something else. Hopefully not something generic like Blacklight. Anyway, if you want more tame content, stay right here on karintube.com/Dr. Jester. Sorry, youtube.com/Dr. Jester. Fuck you, YouTube. And fuck you, Facebook. Just for good measure. Or if you want more out-tech content, or content where I barely censor myself because I still have to censor myself. Yesterday I had to censor myself because I was going to say the N-word in a joke. And I couldn't push myself to do it because, well, I live in a shithole. And I still like my freedom. So, either way, go to bigshoot.com/Dr. Jester or minds.com/Dr. Jester, where I barely censor myself. So, with that being said, thank you for watching. Good night.